got a pretty cool deal here today. Carlos Mendez, Condor Speed Shop, the man himself. He built some pretty trick stuff for these cars, so we're gonna put his money where his mouth is. We're gonna take Nick's bone stock E30 here, and I'm gonna go pound on it a little bit, see what we can get out of it. This car is all stock. So we're actually doing this at a time trial event in West Palm Beach, Florida. So this is actually a competition event, and I think we're one of 5 cars in the class. But we're on a 200 treadwear street tire, you know, kind of make this apt for what a lot of people do with these parts. Yeah, not everybody uses them for racing. Matter of fact, most people that buy these parts, putting them on street cars. So we're gonna test it on a street car. Sometimes the only way to test something, go racing with it. In the middle of the corner, kind of hard to get the car to curl back in halfway through the corner. Long carousels here. The car is predictable. It's not doing anything wrong. It's just not doing anything spectacular. It's not doing what you want it to do. So you got to think ahead of it. You can't decide as you're going into the corner. Yeah, you got to know 300 feet before the corner what you're going to do with the car, and it's got to be really deliberate. Otherwise, it's just not gonna do it when you get there. You know, and it's not that it's a bad car. Hard to get 10/10 out of something that doesn't know what 10/10 is. Elon and his guys did their magic. Carlos brought some magic for the car. Let's see how this works out. Yeah, the shifter don't move around no more. Initial turn in, the car just turns in so much more responsibly. I mean, the car has the same sway bars, springs, and shocks as it did before, but I'd swear it rolls over less. turn in at a higher speed, and it actually turns in. You don't have to wait on it, and you get back to power so much sooner. You get back to power confidently. It just lets you go back to power. I expected the car to be better. I didn't expect it to be this much better. I mean, now it's just predictable. You can do this all day long. I mean, it was a fun car, and they're fun to slide around, you know, but they're unpredictable when they're like that. You know, this thing now, you know, when it slides, it's because you want it to slide, not because you had no choice but to flick it before the corner to get it to go around the corner. If you want it to turn, it turns. If you want to flick it, you can flick it. You know, if you want to, you know, pick up throttle early and let the back end come out a little bit on corner exit, you know, carry enough momentum, it'll do it. It does it predictably. It does it nice. This is how the car's supposed to feel. And it's not harsh. It's still nice. It's quiet. You never know.
You're 40, right?
What?
We saw 40.
Nice. That's well over a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a 41.7 before.
How did it feel?
Different car.
Different car.
Different car.
Better car?
Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
All right, Victor, since you are our Stig who drove the car before and after we installed all the bushings, tell me a little bit about the car, how it felt, the difference that you felt.
I was saying while I was out there, I mean, before the car, it just didn't respond. It was like a mush pot. I mean, these cars are always fun to drive. It's an E30. They're fun to drive. I love them. But yeah, it was a mush pot. The only way I could really get a good lap, I had to like flick the car, and it was too hard. I couldn't do it consistently everywhere. I mean, you try, and then you either over flick it or under flick it, and then it blew me away actually when I went back out again after the bushings. Because
so it was a noticeable difference.
The car did what I wanted. I mean, we were almost a half a second faster, but it's repeatable. I mean, it was like a half a second faster every lap. Just do it again and again and again. It just is now, you don't have to flick the car. It just turns in. The car's not losing the alignment. If the car has 1 degree of camber going into the corner, it keeps the 1 degree of camber. Before it felt like, you know, the car had 1 degree of camber, but it lost 2.5 in flex.
Right.
So the car just kind of mush over on itself. Now it sticks with itself. You know, what you've got going in, you've got all the way around the corner, coming off the corner.
Consistently.
Yeah, now the car, it'll actually get a little bit loose. You know, and not sideways loose, but if you're hard throttle, full throttle before apex on a big carousel, the back end will actually start just a little bit, but it's drivable. You can drive through it. You can just you can work the car. Where before, you know, you had the thing sideways, you had to pitch it sideways, and if you let it straighten up, you kind of lost the car.
Right.
Yeah, and it wasn't repeatable, and it's fun when you can drive like that. But it's not fun for probably most drivers because they're not going to flick the car, you know, at that speed beforehand. But afterward, it goes where you point the front end. Yeah, and it's crisper, but it still drives nice. I mean, I drove over a bunch of the rumble strips, and, you know, and it didn't the dash. I mean, it just drove, and it just drove.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but I swear I could brake 20 to 40 feet later everywhere because I didn't get the car, you know, talking to me under braking. It just go in, the back end would stay calm, squatted, and so I could drive in deeper to the point where this car has stock brakes. Yeah. I started to way overextend the brake. The brakes started to become the issue, not the chassis moving around.
That's,
you know,
cool.
the other problems that, you know, because it's still a stock street car.
Right. Awesome. And what about, did you look at the lap times as far as consistency goes between the first session and the second session?
Didn't look at all the lap times. I took a quick glance at them, and I didn't turn my fastest lap previous till the last lap. Every lap got faster.
In the first session?
In the first session.
Okay.
The second session, they were faster right out of the box. And then I got a little bit quicker because just right out of the box, the car was, it was predictable.
Yeah.
You know, before I had to learn how hard to flick it, what to do with it, and it's not the right way to drive a car.
Right.
I mean, that's driving around a problem.
Right.
Now you're not driving around a problem, you're just driving the car.
Just driving the car. That's cool. Well, there you have it. It didn't make as much of a difference as we thought it might, but it still made, what, 0.6 seconds?
Right about a half a second, a 0.47. But it's repeatable, and it's right out of the box. Where before, the only way, you know, if you put somebody that didn't have a lot of time in E30s, didn't have a lot of time in these cars, the gap would probably be larger. Because they wouldn't be able to drive around the problems that the car has. I know how to get around the problems in these cars. I've got a lot of seat time in it. Somebody who hasn't, they're going to fight it, and they're probably never going to get there. And then afterward, it just drives.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people could probably turn the lap time I turned afterward.
Right.
Not many people could probably turn the lap time I turned before.
So there you have it. Man, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You guys did great.
Man,
Elon did great. Those guys, Nick, thank you very much for letting us beat up on your car. Because we did.